और क्या क्या बजाना अच्छा लगा?
मुझे अच्छा लगा सितारा
और
चीज़ों को बचाने के लिए कुछ करना चाहूँगी।
बाकी कुछ करना चाहोगे? कैसे बचाना चाहोगे उन चीज़ों को?
जिस तरीके से वो बच सकती हैं उस तरीके से मैं पूरी कोशिश करूँगी।
वही तो पूरी गंदगी कर रखी है, वहाँ पर सफाई करनी चाहिए। अंदर तो सफाई है उसके, लेकिन बाहर बहुत ज़्यादा गंदगी है। लोग वहाँ पर
desire to learn and to explore, and I'm just sort of contemplating that well, it's a crucial time for us here. What lessons can we learn from Delhi?
And it's to do with collaboration. So what I'm questioning here, the ethos of Delhi City Symphony in a way, is breaking the boundary between the common good of private and public. And at the moment what I'm really advocating is about new collaborative model of making business.
I mean, I find it also really interesting when people choose to work with disadvantaged groups. And, you know, the questions that the girls were asking of the guys around the monuments about rubbish and dirt and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, yeah, fair enough, you know, they'll say, you know, this and that about the rubbish. But really, I mean, the decision makers are going to be the sort of, you know, you said that there was the English guy, the expat, who was talking about the Delhi City Council and, you know, how fortunate they were to be governed by them. And I'm just thinking, well, why are people not, if it's about changing, you know, or raising awareness of the issues of like waste management, which is a huge issue in India everywhere.
The question of responsibility, the last guy who was interviewed, is about the community. It's the community who's making use of a heritage space. So actually, if they become the change makers in that community, that will enhance other projects. And the more conscious information they have about the other business around waste management, the more informed they are, the more willing they will be to change.
Do you think that's going to happen?
Yes, because that's the next practical project, a regeneration project in a neighborhood to convert that space into a film and music festival. That could happen.
I really think that the process of those girls asking questions is where the transformation is taking place. Because asking questions is the beginning of raising awareness of observation of the environment is in.
We could see in their eyes the understanding. When they were asking the questions, they were kind of thinking, well, this isn't right, we need to change this. And that's going to spread.
Why are we then looking at sort of like local people in that way rather than going to the decision makers, to the middle classes, to the elites, to the politicians? I understand it's a small scale thing, yeah. But what I'm saying is it's like, I understand you're sort of like perhaps raising more questions than giving answers. I'm talking about the difference between a fantasy of how change can happen and reality of how change can happen, I suppose.
They know there's a dream, they know there's something that they can do. And I think that that's absolutely transformative. Whether you're gone, I mean, you looked at some of those kids and you could see, okay, now I have a dream. Yeah, maybe that dream will never ever happen.
It won't.
But now they have one.
Maybe there's a seed that's been planted.
Maybe there's a seed, and that seed just could transform into anything.
The Western notion of following your dream and having a dream and, you know.
There's something more is just to give them hope.
that's just giving, somebody's paid attention to them, somebody's listened to them, and that in itself is giving them hope. And India is not this, it's changing at a very rapid rate, and there are still women, there are more and more women that are getting a chance. And even if one of those kids gets an opportunity, then it's giving them hope. And so what's the alternative? There's to do nothing.
But I think that there's a seed there, and the transformation will happen. And it's to do with collaboration.
Those kids are, you know, never, ever, ever going to have a chance to A, work in media, or B, you know, do anything with music. You know, the classical music training takes forever to do. You have to be basically, as you know, probably far more than me, you know, apprentice to some person forever.
Challenging the power structures is exactly what you did.
It transformed my vision about culture. So the concept of cultural social responsibility came from there.
It's in the children and the people around them, but in you and I and all of us.
Yeah.
So I loved it for that. And it's what I liked is the universality and how it can apply to everything.
If you empower local people that can then be inspiring for them, adults, whatever it is, in the arts, in the education system, that will then stay there and continue to work with these kids, and then linking them, tying them down to their community and to whatever they can do in their society.
To challenge the status quo, to my mind, is not just replacing it with the same thing, so putting other people into those same structures and recreating the same thing with different people. It's creating something different, and that's what you did. And a lot of people, grassroots people, I think just need kind of permission to just do for themselves. And I think that was the big message, was that, oh, we can actually do something ourselves, and we can go ahead.
Cities are a really complex ecosystem, but the root of you can be the change, I think it was there. And I mean, it will take me a long time, but I will do what I can.
And it's the same here. I mean, I'm in Tower Hamlets, you know, same thing, grassroots. Oh, well, there's this green area in front of the block where I live, and people don't think that they can just grow there. They think they need permission from someone to just do. But actually, people can just change things and just do and clean up for themselves and paint and grow and decorate, you know, and somehow, you know, I think that was a big message, that they actually have the skills themselves and they can do for themselves. And perhaps the unfortunate bit is that, you know, it took some foreign person to come in and facilitate that. So it would have been good if they felt, and I think there was a bit of that they felt, that girl, she said yes, she felt she could put together something from pictures herself now, and that they could direct in future for themselves. So I think that was a big message, to do for themselves and not to recreate existing power structures.
Battle and continue. Why, instead of just 1 week, do the facilities house not say, well, yeah, well, actually, we'll have some sort of training scheme to bring on these lads, to bring on these girls, the Doordarshan woman who will have tons and tons of influence, you know, the musicians, they could do it.
But it's the development, as you know, in the world isn't that linear. You know, it's about making a difference at that moment in someone's life that could manifest itself at a later time, maybe, but certainly in a way that we can't imagine right now, necessarily. Write something to try and create a feeling as to what I was thinking and feeling. So, can I read it? Yeah. Is it all right? Because as tongued history flows from frame to frame, I find the tongued history lifts me and disturbs me. I find the tongued frame lashes me to an unseen history, to a childhood present. Before is a frame, now is a sound. Later is a new experience that leaves me and calls me. So many innocent hopes learn to lash their voices to the hope of sound and frame. The hope of community, the hope that the sky can be a place under which truth can be heard. I feel a history that needs a sound, but my sound disturbs me. It changes and affects me, but it frightens me. Because for the first time, I'm frightened of my sound. Because the sound is the same sound that others understand. They are lashing themselves to me. They are framing my history, tonguing my history, loving my history. This sound is no longer small, it is big, it is huge. It echoes in the distance. a distance I never thought existed. I wonder who else can hear my sound.